Yes, we are.
Okay, good. Resounding yes. So the rules of the road for those who are new to the game, please feel free to participate. Questions are invited, are very much appreciated. If it gets out of control, then I use the mute freely, meaning we have an open dialogue over here. You guys get to hawk, I get to use mute. I think it's fair. Okay, all right, good.
One
All right,
second.
so-
There's one more rule that Ravi didn't mention.
Yeah,
Everybody else gets to answer before Binyamin Pesach. I
I
noticed this. Don't think I
Yes,
didn't
yes.
notice.
Yes.
I
Binyamin
get to
Pesach-
answer last.
The Yeoman pays like it's no air time. That's right. He gets no. He's not. You won't even notice he's in the shear. He's the quietest guy there. It's a shot. Hey, mamish, I feel bad for Yeah. All right. Insecurities aside, let's go. All right. So again, this sugya is mitzvah shofar tkiya or shmiya, and we're going to start really not from inside the Gemara. We're going to start from inside the Shagas area because it'll get us really into the thick and thin of things quickly. Okay. So the Shagas area is involved. Shayla. He asks the following question: Ilim she'enu medaber. You have a person who cannot speak; he's a mute. How can he, or can he be yotze his obligation of kriyishma? Uben kain b'shar mitzvahs atlim b'dibur. So too, any other mitzvah that's totally b'dibur could go in tefillah or berachas hamazon, right? And those are totally on dibur. Can an ilim, can a person who's mute, can he fulfill those mitzvahs? V'chein, so too a similar shaila. Medaber ve'eno shemeh. If you have a person who's the opposite, he could speak but he can't hear. He's deaf. Can he be yotze these mitzvahs or not? Now the second part of the question is based on the fact that many, at least some Rishonim hold that when you have a mitzvah of dibur, you have to be shamei la'oznov. You have to hear, you have to be able to hear it. So since he can't hear, is there a way for him to be yotze? But the second part is not really our issue. Our issue is the ilim she'enu medaber, a person who is a mute, he can't speak. All right, so here's our guy. He's an ilim, he's not medaber. Now here's the problem. The problem is the mitzvah kriyishma. The Torah says v'dibarta bam, right? V'dibarta bam means you shall speak out the words. This guy, he can't speak. So how can he fulfill them? Can he fulfill a mitzvah? How can he fulfill a mitzvah? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's really the question.
What's the theoretical? What's the theoretical yes? How would he physically do the mitzvah if he's an Elim?
Right. So how would he do it? So good. So anybody know the answer to that, gentlemen?
Mouth words?
Look inside.
What's that?
Just point in the
Here we know here is not kedibur. That for sure would not work. We paskin here is not kedibur. But what would be the other side?
But if a guy is like, for example, he's blind, does he say puka chivrim?
That's the answer is yes, he does, because he benefits from other people who can walk him around. But again, the question is here. The Torah says v'dibarta bam, you shall speak, and he can't speak. So the question is, how in fact can he be yotze the mitzvah? Meaning,
even if he says he can, even let's say okay, fine, he can't. How does he do it?
Right.
Didn't we answer that question in our last sugya? Or
yes, thank you, gentlemen. Good morning.
Yes.
The shaila is, can he use shomea ka'ona? Right, we're very, very familiar with that concept. We spent 2 weeks on it, right? Meaning, let's quickly review because it's an important concept. So let's quickly recap it, right? Shomea ka'ona means if you're listening, it's like you're saying. So here's the following application. Zoch Hashem HaShabbos HaKadosh. Mitzvah say deraisa for every Jewish male and woman to Makadosh the Shabbos with words. Okay, now normally, typically, what happens is one man makes the kiddush, and everyone else around him listens. The system that works there is Shomea Ka'ona, and the way we define that concept. Remember the Beis Halevi and the Chazon Ish, right? So, but basically, let's just say it this way: when this man says the word Zoch Hashem HaShabbos HaKadosh, this person's listening. His listen to silence as if he's speaking. He gets a din as if he spoke it out. So even though this man is speaking, Shomea, his listening is Ka'ona. It's as if he's speaking himself. So he's speaking out the words, right? Okay, good. So that we know is standard Shomea Ka'ona. That's how it works by Kiddush. It works by Megillah, etc. Okay, good. And the question that the Shagas Ari is asking is, what about a person who physically can't speak? Does Shomea Ka'ona work if you can't speak? Meaning this guy, by Kiddush, he could speak very well, but he's listening. So he's using the system of Shomea Ka'ona. Okay, fine. But the problem is we're dealing with an Elam who can't speak. Can you Shomea Ka'ona if the man physically can't speak? That's his question. All right. And so far, so good. Now, B'Yom Pesach, let's ask the question the other way. Why would you think it doesn't work?
Because if Shomei is Ka'ona and he can't be Ona, then you can't say Shomei Ka'ona because he can't be Ona.
Why? Why not?
Because he can't be Ona. If Shomei is Ka'ona, that works, assuming he can be Ona. But if he can't be Ona, then maybe it doesn't work.
Why not?
Because it's not Shomei Ka'ona. He can't be Ona.
Why not? He's his own. His silence is his answering.
It's physically doing something which he can't do.
And therefore what?
He's incapable of speaking. So how can you say it's like I spoke? You're not,
Fine.
you can't speak.
Fine. Who did their homework?
This is the Bila thing.
Exactly. Okay. Okay, so why would we think it wouldn't work? So this is the Shvilei Leket who quotes an interesting concept. All right, now, Alpha Bisharisi La Shvilei Leket. This is Sugyah Shiur continues. This is going to explain why potentially it wouldn't work. The Shvilei Leket says, Shekasa B'chlal Aleph, Shvilei Leket wrote in Klal Aleph Siman Tes, but Mispalel V'Shama Kaddish or Kedusha, a man who's dominating, he's in the middle of Shemona Esrei, and he hears Kaddish or Kedusha, Dikim Mirabusa, the Shvilei Sheshosek V'Yishma, and there are Rishonim who hold what he should do is be Shosak and listen to Kaimalan Shemea Ka'ona. We pass in Shemea Ka'ona, and Shemaravam Reb Shlomo Kasav. Shaleket quotes Reb Avram Bar Shlomo, another Rishon, who writes, Heicha Ama Shama V'Lo Ona Yatza. When do we say Shama V'Lo Ona Yatza b'makom she'yochel lanos? In a case where he can actually answer Kanach the Sukkah, like the case of Sukkah. What was the case over there, gentlemen? Anybody remember?
Someone else can't fulfill your sukkah obligation?
Nope. No. That's the source of Shemei Ka'ona. Chav Ches. I remember the Navi was reading the words and all right, whatever. Anyway, the point is, that's he could speak. He could speak over there. A person standing and dominating, he can't answer. Lo yotza b'shmiya, can't be yotza b'shmiya. All right, so let's speak out the Shvilei Leket for a minute over here. Here's what he's saying. And this is a famous shaila, and in fact, it's halacha, not like what he's saying. Let's say I'm in the middle of Shemona Esrei, and I hear, let's say, Kedusha, Kaddish, or something like that. What do I do? So the halacha in Shulchan Aruch is I'm shosak, I stop, listen, and I use Shomea Ka'ona to be Yotze. And in fact, I'm Yotze Kaddish or Kedusha, whatever, with that. Now, the Shvilei Leket argues. He says, you're not, it doesn't work. And in fact, he quotes Rabbi Avram Bar Shlomo saying it doesn't work. And because since you're in the middle of Shemona Esrei, you can't be mafsik, you can't speak. Since you can't speak, you can't use Shomea Ka'ona. But, all right, so far so good. But he makes it much worse. He explains the logic behind it. He says, V'dami l'Reb Zera is comparable to the case of Reb Zera. Dama Kedushin Dav Chaf Hey Aman Aleph Kol HaRoi L'Bila Ein Bila Makeves Bo. Anything that's roi for mixing, the mixing is not ma'akev, is not ma'akev. Kol she'ein roi l'bila, bila makeves bo. Anything that's not roi l'bila, bila is makeves bo. Ad kan. Im kain, if so, kol she'ein ilem, kal v'chom an ilem, she'einu yochel lanos, an ilem who can't answer all. Yef shalat says yidei chavasa b'shmiya, he would not be able to be yotzi his obligation with listening. Davle ein roi l'bila, because he's surely not a roi l'bila. All right, so basically the Shvilei Leket is giving the Sugyah Shiur a lot of trouble, because if you say that in Shemona Esrei you can't use Shemea Ka'ona because you can't speak because it's mafsik, then surely in Elam he physically can't speak. Obviously he can use Shemea Ka'ona, and in which case the Sugyah Shiur would not be able to use Shemea Ka'ona. Good.
I assume Rebbe didn't want to get too deep into the Bila business, but is Rebbe able to explain briefly what's going on there?
Yes. Now I don't want to explain briefly. We're going to spend some time on it because it's a very important concept that applies many halachas. Let me tell you an interesting halacha, and you'll see how many different places it applies to. Here we go. A woman goes to the mikveh, and she doesn't open her mouth under the water. What's halacha? It's of course it's kosher too. She doesn't have to open her mouth. It's called basar, anything from the outside, but inside she doesn't have to open her mouth. It's only outside. Okay, good. halacha is doesn't. Oh, good. Now, what happens if a woman goes to the mikveh and she comes out and she finds between her teeth meat or something, something like that? What's halacha then? So, and depending on the circumstances, whatever, and situations, the Rov might make her go to the mikveh again. Why? Because it's a chatzitza. What do you mean chatzitza? You tell me the water doesn't have to go into her mouth at all. But if there's something between her teeth, then it's a chatzitza? What are you kidding me? How could that be? The answer is, the water doesn't have to go into her mouth, but it has to be fit to go into her mouth, go in between her teeth as well. But if there's something large in her teeth, or her teeth are covered by something, it's not roy labila, it's not fit to go in, and that would be ma'akev, and that would stop it. Now, that's a concept, it applies in many, many areas of halacha, and that's why we're going to dig into the concept properly, but that's just an application. So let's see the actual concept of kol roy labila, bila makeves bo. All right, so we're going to start with the Mishnah, pasuk, Vayikra Beis, v'nefesh ki ta'akriv korban mincha. If a person is makriv a korban mincha l'Hashem, right? Mincha is basically, it's a korban, but it's made out of solas, made out of almost most of the time made out of fine flour. Solas yeh korbono, from fine flour should be his korban. V'yatzag al Hashem, and he should pour on it oil. V'nasan aleh lavona, and he should put on it lavona. So a korban mincha is made of solas. Yatzag al Hashem, and he pours shemen on it, v'nasal lavona, and he puts lavona on it. So here's our korban mincha: solas, fine flour, oil, shemen, lavona, frankincense. I don't know what frankincense is, but it's a spice, and it's used in many halachic situations. Anyway, and melech. Now, melech is not required in all minchos, but most minchos requires melech as well. Okay, good. So that's pasuk 1. So we have basically a basic understanding of what a korban mincha it consists of. Pasuk 2 says, "The im mincha ala machvas karbanecha." There are different ways of bringing the korban mincha, but machvas is a frying pan. If the type of mincha you bring is ala machvas, solas belula b'shemen, and the solas should be mixed in, belula b'shemen, should be mixed in with oil, and matzah, when you fry it in that frying pan, since it's a wide, thin wafer, it'll become matzah, and it has to be matzah. But here the pasuk says belula b'shemen, and we learn out from this that all minchas have to be belula b'shemen. Now it happens to be the pasuk is only speaking about a machvas mincha you bring in a frying pan, but the halacha is we learn out that in all minchas the solas has to be mixed in with shemen. All right, so here's our example over here. One type of mincha was fried in a machvas. That is a poor example of machvas, but in Canva was the only frying pan I got, so we're using that one. Okay. That's our machvas. So, and basically, the flour was first mixed with the oil. This is belila, meaning you took the solas, put it in before it went into the machvas. By the way, it's interesting to note the Mishnah says halacha is first you pour a little oil into the machvas so it shouldn't burn, but the main oil is used before you put it into the machvas. You mix the oil into the solas, and belula you mix it all in very well. Okay, good. So and then you pour it in and it's fried. Very nice. Now, let's look at a Mishnah over here. Lo yitzak lo balal. What happens if you didn't do the pouring and you didn't do belila? Halacha is kshera, it's kosher. So even though we said it has to be belula b'shemen, it has to be mixed in with the oil, and the Mishnah tells us clearly that if you didn't balal, if you didn't mix it in, it's still kshera. On that Mishnah, Reb Zera says, Amr Reb Zera, if it's raw, if it's fit to mix in, then yes, it's bila is not makev, it's not makev, it's kosher. But if it's not roy lebila, then bila is makeves bo. Now, what is he speaking about? Let's see. Rashi will explain to us basically the situation. Kol roy lebila kon shishim esronim roy livlol malug. 60 esronim of solas is fit to be bolo, to be mixed in with 1 log of shemen. So therefore, even if you put into the machva 60 esronim of shemen and 1 log of oil, that would be proper, even if you didn't mix it up. You forgot to mix it, whatever, it's still kosher, because it's roy lebila, ain bila makezbo. Ain bila makezbo, if you low bala kosher, even if you didn't do belila, it's kosher. However, if it's not roy lebila, then it is ma'akeves. Then, if it's not fit to be mixed, then bilam is ma'akeves bo. So let's understand what that is. Rashi doesn't help us very much, but basically the story is like this. Korban mincha needs to be belul b'shemen. Very nice. To mix them properly, shishim esronim requires 1 log of oil. Chazal estimated, according to the Sharas of the Chachamim, that's the amount of oil, the minimal amount of oil to mix in properly with shishim esronim is 1 log of oil, and that's the normal amount used for mincha. So therefore, 1 log is not enough for mixing shishim ve'echad esronim. If you're going to put into Rachma, if the person says korban shishim ve'echad esronim alai korban mincha, right? He says, makes an adova. He says, I'm giving 61 esronim of solas for mincha. He cannot do it in 1 pot. Why? Because in 1 pot you're only going to put 1 log of shemen, and since you're only going to put 1 log of shemen, 1 log of shemen is only enough to properly bolel 60 measures of solas. If you're going to put 61 in there, it's not enough. The problem is, even if you didn't do belila at all, it's kosher. So who cares? You put in 61, who cares that you can't do it? It's good enough even if you didn't do it, right? So let's just see the slides on this. If you put into pan 61 esronim of soles into the machvas with 1 log of oil, that is makevesbo. You're not yotze. You have to do the mincha again. However, if you put in the pan 60 esronim and you didn't mix it all, it's kosher. Now that sounds like a contradiction. Why? Because if you didn't do the mixing at all, it's kosher. So why would 61 be a problem? Answers Reb Zera, kol roy lebila ein bila makeves bo. If it fits the bila is not makeves bo. Anyone understand what I'm talking about over here?
Maybe a silly question. If it's not mixed, isn't it just going to burn and not going to come out to anything?
You yotze the mincha though. You yotze the korban mincha.
Rebbe, are you saying that if you have all of the components that you need for the korban mincha, if you have all the components and you miss doing 1 part of it, it's okay. But if you don't have all of the things, if you would miss that 1 thing, it's not okay. Right,
because you see, you said it well. If I had all the components, but one of the components is it has to be fit to do belila, fit to mix in. So if it's 60, right, and it's 60 esronim, 60 measures of wheat, of solas, can mix in well with 1 log of oil. So even if I didn't mix it, it's proper for what is needed for the korban mincha. So I'm yotze the korban mincha. But if into the machvas I put in 61, and so the problem is the 61 cannot be bolo, cannot be mixed in with 1 log of oil. It's not enough oil. It's going to be too dry. It won't do the belila properly. Therefore, even though if I don't need the belila, but I need it to be fit to be bolel, and since 61 of solas won't be bolel, therefore it doesn't. It's makiv.
It just sounds like Reb Zera said it a little funny. He could have just said, if you have the right proportions, it's good. If you don't have the right proportions, it's no good.
Well, you see, but that's not what he's saying. It's very good that you say that way, because it's not at all what he's saying. Because if that's what he was saying, it would be limited only to a mincha and would not apply to any other area of halacha. And applies to many other. I'll give you another area of halacha. Let's say, can bikurim, can a person who's in Elam bring bikurim? Or that's really not a good example because that's really Shag Zari's question. But can a person, if he can't say vanisa, if he can't say the words Arami Ovid Avi, can he bring bikurim? Let's say it's a suffix time of the year, whatever he can't say. And so Gemara says like this. I understand. If he didn't say the words at all, he's Yotze Bikurim. So what's the difference if he can't say? Why can he be Yotze? The answer is Reb Zera taught us kol roy lebila aim bila makeves bo. If it's not roy bila is makeves bo. So that, you know what I'm saying? It's not just limited to this example of 61 esronim and 1 log of oil. It's a general principle in really in many areas of halacha that if it's fit to be bol, if it's fit to do the activity, even if you didn't do it, it's okay. But if it's not fit, then it's not okay.
It has to be mixable.
Mixable.
I mean, does an Elam even have a chiyuv in any of these things that the Shagasari is asking, or
that would be
he doesn't have a chiyuv?
Be totally zebazeh. In other words, if he doesn't have an ability to be yotze, he would not have a chiyuv. The Torah can't be mechayim something he can't be yotze. If he does have a chiyuv to be if he does have a way to
No,
be
maybe it's onus rachmana patre, meaning there's a certain chiyuv, but onus rachmana patre, and then
that's exactly the point. Meaning, if he didn't have a chiyuv in it, if he didn't have a way of fulfilling it, he couldn't have a chiyuv in it. However, if he does have a way to fulfill it, then he would have a chiyuv in it.
right, okay, but I'm saying if there was inherently a chiyuv, but Hashem said I can't give you a chiyuv because of an elaim, then I hear more of a svara to say shomei kaona. There's no inherent chiyuv, then shomei kaona is very funny. It's
Right,
like
you put the cart behind before the horse or after the horse. I don't know which one here. Because meaning, an elam is a gadol and he's chayav in all mitzvahs like everybody else, unless you tell me he can't do it. If he can't do it, then he's obviously the Torah's not going to chayav him. But
it's not. But isn't that different? Didn't we go through this in the last video? There's a chiyuv and their onus rachmana patre. It means there is a chiyuv, but it's just a p'tur. Isn't that two separate steps? That means be'etzem there's a chiyuv, but there's a p'tur, so you're not going to get punished for not doing it.
Right. So an elam is a gadol, is a chacham like any other gadol b'Yisrael, and he's chayav in every mitzvah. Now, if you find me a particular mitzvah they can't do because he's an elam, well, I guess he's potter from because he can't do it. Torah can't mechayev him either directly on its rachmana.
So then what's the svara to say that you can't be? I mean, it sounds like you're a bar chiyuv, shomei. It sounds like you're a klal arvos. So why wouldn't shomei kaona work?
Because shomei kaona works if you're roy lebila, but if ain't or if the concept of when does shomei kaona work? Only if you're roy to speak, you're roy lebila, and then bila is not makeves bo. But if you're not roy to speak because you physically can't speak, then bila is makeves bo. You can't use shomei kaona.
So is that a chiddush Shagas Ari saying? I mean, because
it's first of all, it's a shvuah leket. The Shagas
right, the shvuah leket, right? The shvuah leket. That's the shvuah leket's chiddush that shomei kaona doesn't work if you can't be kaona. You don't have any. You can't speak.
Yes, and the Shagas Ari argues with that vehemently. This whole piece is to prove that incorrect. But the shvuah leket's logic is kol roy lebila bila makeves bo, aim bila makeves bo, but it has to be roy lebila. Since this elam can't speak, he's not roy lebila. You can't use shomei kaona on a guy who can't speak.
Right. So the shvuah leket really would be very bad against the mandamer that said that shomei kaona is a type of speaking.
Not really. I'll tell you why. Because there is a halacha by let's see a chalitza case. That's the best example. And the halacha by chalitza is that there are different parts of the chalitza. One part of the chalitza is both he and she have to say different things, and if he doesn't say it, the halacha is the halacha is if he doesn't say it, it's not ma'akev and it's still a good chalitza. And so the question is, what about an elaim b'chalitza? And this seems to be pretty clear that an elam cannot do chalitza. Why? And because bila makeves bo, because since he can't speak, but if he didn't speak at all, it would be fine, right? Nevertheless, lemaisa, it's only if he could speak.
Well, how would an elam do it? You can't do shomei kaona. The other guy doesn't have any din arvos there. I mean, he's no chiyuv in it.
That's why. That's why it doesn't work. Meaning it
but that's much worse than what I just said. Meaning
no. But that's the point. There you see bila makeves. Meaning, if you do chalitza without saying it at all, right? You yotze do chalitza. Yet that's only if he is capable of speaking. But if he's not capable of speaking, then the fact that he can't speak, it's makev. What do you mean? If he didn't say it at all, it's good. And why should it be no good because he can't speak?
Because you're not in the klal chalitza. It sounds like.
Exactly. So you see, that's a concept of labila. Exactly. And what the shvuah leket would prove from there is that when do we say these concepts like shomei kaona or bila's not makeves bo if you're in a category one who could speak, but if you're the kind of person who can't speak, then you're not in the category of that which the Torah says a bar chalitza or in this case a bar kriyishma, whatever the point is. You can't use right. That's the shvuah leket's purpose over here.
We make him do
it's interesting.
instead.
Go ahead.
Who's first? Who hit the trigger first?
Martin.
Go for it, Martin. Yes.
We make the guy do yibum.
Hopefully there are other brothers.
Oh, okay. And if there's no other brothers,
go ask your local Orthodox rabbi. Go ask.
Okay. All right. Very good.
There are some women who are stuck. we don't really allow Yibum Bismanazeh anyway, but right, but to be a tough situation. And there's sometimes women who get stuck. She's right. That's who's doing Yavamis this year. Let's go. This is Shiva Shemesech. Anybody Chavetz Chaim over here?
Yeah, I'm doing Yavamis. We're supposed to.
Oh. All right, but anyway, the point is that yes, in that case, so again, even though chalitza, if you didn't say it at all, it's a good chalitza, but that's only if you could say. If you can't speak, then it's not a good chalitza. Crazy, what, why? That's Reb Zer's principle, that if you roy lebila, then bila is not makeves bo. But if you're not roy lebila, then bila is makeves bo. The fact you can't speak it stops you. So the Shri Leket is applying that also to Shemei Ka'ona. He's saying, just like by chalitza in these cases, the fact that if you can't speak, you can't use any other. You're makeves bo. You can't do the mitzvah, so you can't use Shemei Ka'ona because Shemei is like Binyamin Pesach was saying. Shemei has to be Ka'ona, and it's not Ka'ona because you can't speak. Binyamin Pesach, that's exactly what you meant in the beginning, right?
I'm going to be muted.
Binyamin Pesach silent. I don't even know what to do over here. I don't know how do we handle this. Binyamin Pesach silent.
Pirkei Avos this past week. The most important thing he learned was shtika.
Lamatzasi leguf tov. All right, all right, good.
Rebbe,
All right,
just really quick, Rebbe. So it sounds like the Shibuli Leket takes this Bila concept to a whole nother level, not just by Elaine, but he also extends it to if you're davening Shmona Esrei. I mean, he says you're mamish like Bila if you're davening Shmona Esrei. I mean, even though technically you're right to speak because you have a mouth and you could talk, you're involved in a situation where you're just right now you're not able to talk, even then you would say you're not right.
Right. So basically, you're 100% right, Yaakov. And that the Shagazari goes to town on that point. It says what you're saying is totally unbased. Because if a guy can't speak, it's one thing. But this guy, he's trying to say he can't speak. He's not allowed to speak. Don't tell me he can't speak. He's 100. If you let him be mafsik, he'd say the Star Spangled Banner. He'd say Pledge of Allegiance. He can't speak, but he's able to. Why can't you? That's right. So, but you're right. The Shri Leket is expanding the concept of Kol Haroi L'Bila even to an extent where you can speak, but you're not allowed to. Says the Shri Leket in the name of another Rishon, and that there still the concept is since you're not allowed to speak, you can't. Bila is makeves bo. Oh wait, someone came in. I'm sorry. Right?
Isn't that? Didn't we learn that as a machlokas Rashi Tosfos? Am I wrong?
No, you're correct. 100% correct. Meaning, Rashi and Tosfos argue about the fact whether it's a hefsek or not. I mean, the Bali also say don't do it because it's mafsik Yishman Esrei. However, Machaber Paskins that the minhag is, and even Bali Tosfos seem to accept this minhag. The minhag is to use shtika over there, Shemei Ka'oneh, because I don't know why exactly, but that's that is the minhag, and that's how the Machaber Paskins. But you're right, according to Bali Tosfos, you're not allowed to do it because it's mafsik. But if you did it, you'd be yotzei. I mean, even let's say you say it's a hefsek. Okay, but I'm yotzei kaddish or kedusha. I have to start my Shemona Esrei again. Fine, but I was yotzei.
No, but according to Bali Tosfos, the chor of the question is not a question.
The Shri Leket saying it doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? The Shri Leket saying even further, it doesn't work. You're not yotzei. I'm sorry, Binyamin Pesach. What were you saying?
Saying the according to the Bali Tosfos, it's not really the Bila thing doesn't apply because the fact is you could speak now, and that's why it's a problem because it's going to be mafsik. So if applying it because it's like as if you're speaking. So obviously you could speak. So it's not a problem that you can't speak. The question is only according to Rashi the Chara.
Right. Binyamin Pesach is pointing out, not even Rashi either. Binyamin Pesach is pointing out that for sure, according to Tosfos does not agree with this because Gufa, the reason why Tosfos says you can't use Shemei Ka'oneh in the middle of Shemona Esrei is because if you use it, you will be mafsik your Shemona Esrei. So obviously he holds it works, but don't do it because it's mafsik. The Shri Leket would say there's no problem with hefsek because it doesn't work. So obviously Tosfos and Rashi both do not agree with the Shri Leket, but the Shri Leket is saying the name of Rishon, and we'll see why, in fact, the Shagasari is so concerned, even though Lachori seems he has both Rashi and Tosfos on his side. Soon enough, we'll see why he's so concerned about it. All right, but this is the principle. The principle is kol aroi, kol she'ein aroi lebila. Then bila is makeves bo. All right, so far so good.
I was thinking if someone hears Selichot in live on YouTube, like is that considered Shomer Kaoneh?
Okay, that's a difficult problem. Now, if you're Sephardi, maybe, but us Ashkenazim, no. And I'll tell you why not. It is very, very problematic to call a replicated voice a call, meaning Shomer Kaoneh works when I hear your voice. My being quiet is like I said it, but I don't hear your voice. When you speak into a microphone, what happens is that the diaphragm collects the sound, translates it into electrical impulse. The electrical impulse travels along the wires. It then goes into an amplifier, and sound is amplified. Then put into a speaker, the magnet in the back, then sends the speaker out. Meaning it's a whole new sound. It's not the sound of a human voice. It's a completely new sound that has no connection to human. Now it sounds like a human voice, but it's completely synthesized. It's completely made up. It's not like a human voice. Louder. It's a whole new sound. So for that reason, Rav Moshe and most, to my knowledge, most Ashkenazim hold that you cannot use Shomer Kaoneh by. I think even Sephardim do. Now, Sephardim are more makil, like even by davening, to use a microphone. But the assumption is that you're going to hear the chazan. The assumption is that you'll also hear the voice of the chazan. At least 10 people will. So it's considered as if he said the words Davar Shebekadusha amongst the minyan. But for the record, if someone spoke into microphone and no one heard it other than through the speaker, I don't think you yotze anything with it. I don't think you could yotze. You could answer Kaddish like that. I don't think anybody would say you could.
But if I'm on the phone and I hear someone making a baracha on something, I could say amen.
Hi, Vezmir. Elnatan, are you here? What's the answer?
Yeah, Rebbe, we went through this.
That's
It sounds like a Ravadia gives a heter to do it.
Well, what's not a question being Yotze there? It's just a question of saying, I mean, that it's true.
Well, I have a better one. What about you heard it recorded? Many times you'll hear a recording and a guy makes a bracha.
You know what I mean? One time I was watching the video of my bar mitzvah, and I was davening for the Amid on my bar mitzvah video, and without thinking about it, I said Amen to my own bracha.
You're not supposed to say Amen to your own bracha. You see that? That's why the halacha is.
Because like you're watching the video, you say Amen to your own bracha.
I hear you.
But at that point, but the video is different though. You can't, it's not.
Yeah. No, but even live, I don't think on a YouTube or anything, even if it's simultaneous, meaning even if it's at the exact same second and there is no lag, which there usually is, but even assuming there's no lag, I would not. I don't think you'd be yotze in terms of saying amen. Again, that's a machlokes and a poskim. I don't know what to tell you.
In Alexandria, they raised the flags. That means the people in the back didn't hear.
A, they were there. B, it was simultaneous. And C,
right, so simultaneous, so they could say amen. They weren't yotze, right, but they were able to answer amen.
That is correct. That is Mishabura. The Gemara Brachos brings that raya that you don't have to actually hear to answer. But all right, whatever. But I don't know. Let's not get.
Who's the Rishon the Shibboleth like it's quoting? Because his name is Shlomo.
I don't know.
Because that's his own name.
The Shuleket's name?
The Shibboleth's name was Rav Shlomo. So who is he quoting? His son?
No, I don't know. I have no idea who. I never heard this Rishon. Avram bar Shlomo. I don't know. Maybe he's quoting. Maybe it's the Shagas Aryeh's. What's that? Maybe that's the Shagas Aryeh's saying this is what the Shri Leket was saying. I don't know. I didn't recognize the name. That's for sure. I've never heard it before, and I do not know. From Shlomo. Someone look it up. We'll Google it, but after the shiur, not now. Let's learn.
Rebbe, if I could just go back, you asked if everything is cool.
Yes.
And the way I see it, if we say that if you cannot speak, therefore you're not Yaitse Shomer Kaoneh. Okay, I cop that.
Good.
So if someone is standing Shemona Esrei, they cannot speak. The fact that they can physically speak doesn't mean that they can speak. And
right.
Since they cannot speak, therefore it's not Shomer Kaoneh.
Okay, now, according to the Shri Leket, you're 100% correct. And Shri Leket would say, you're not Shomer Kaoneh, you can't use it. Happens to be halacha, we don't hold that way at all. Number one, because as I think Elnaton or somebody pointed out, that I can't, I mean, Yaakov, that I can speak. I'm not allowed to speak. Right? Meaning I'm capable of speaking. It's just Allah is I'll be mafsik. So I'm not allowed to mess up all my previous brachas. So I'm not allowed to, but I can speak. But number two, we paskin anyway. Either we pass like Rashi or the minhag is, and it's good in the halacha. The halacha, and guys, let's not make any mistake. Remember this halacha. If you're in the middle of Shemona Esrei and you hear Kaddish or Kedusha, you're shasak, you're quiet, and you listen to the Shliach Tzibur. However, here's just a Avi. You got 6 days left to do this. Listen to me very carefully, please.
Okay.
Do me a favor. I find myself on a regular basis in the middle of Shemona Esrei, and the Shliach Tzibur gets up to Kedusha, and then he blows it, because he doesn't say the words clearly enough to be heard. So what do? So basically, here's the following dilemma you have with Kedusha. If you're the Shliach Tzibur, it's a Davar Kedusha, and you have to say a Davar Kedusha with a minyan. So the problem is that if, let's say, you wait till everyone finishes, let's say Kadosh, 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 the whole Kal says, right? And they stop and they're silent, and then you say Kadosh, 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 and the Mishnah Berurah brings down that it's a big problem. Why? Because potentially you might not be saying those words with a minyan, meaning you're one man. Now there are 9 Jews or many other Jews listening, but it's not a Davar Kedusha if one man says it and everyone else is just there when they were to Yotzei. So therefore, the Mishnah Berurah suggests as follows: wait till the tzibur gets close to the end of what they're saying, and begin then when it's you're still touching the tail of the tzibur, so it's considered you're saying a tzibur, but then people can actually hear you and be yotzei with the tzibur, with your kadosh kadosh. Because again, otherwise, what happens if a person's in the middle of Shemona Esrei and everyone says it together, you don't hear any voice, so you can't use Shomei Ka'oneh. You can only use Shomei Ka'oneh if you could hear. So it's important for the Shliach Tzibur to wait till the Tzibur gets close to the end of their piece. Right then, when they're getting a little bit quiet, then he should say loudly, Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. Therefore, he's still within the Tzibur, he's still with the Tzibur, but anyone who's in Shemona Esrei is able to hear, and they can use Shomei Ka'oneh.
All right.
So what happens in 6 days, Rabbi?
After 6 days, we're saying Kaddish.
I'm saying Kaddish for another 6 more days. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Good. But Martin, are we good now? Is it?
I mean, it's a problem in general, Shemei. A lot of people make Kiddush for other people, but they don't say it clearly.
Okay. Another public service announcement. If you're making Kiddush, please tell the people around you. Number one, if you're making Kiddush, say the words. Now, really, to be Yotzei Kiddush, it's probably after Bar Paragafin. The last bracha really is what is Kiddush Daraisa. The Vaychulu is nice and Bar Paragafin is nice. Kiddush Daraisa certainly is the last paragraph. Please say the words clearly so that people can hear. But also, if you are the balabas, you should announce at some point, I'm going to be motzi you. Please listen and have in mind to be yotzei. Because remember the Chuvas Harush that we did, that if you do not hear, or if you space out, let's say if people don't know the halacha and they don't know they're supposed to pay attention, they don't know they're supposed to be yotzei. L'chor, they're not yotzei. So I, the one making the Kiddush, have to mind to be motzi. You, the one listening, have to have in mind to be yotzei, and you have to hear the words. If A, you're not paying attention, let's say you don't realize you have to be yotzei, so you're not having in mind to be yotzei, or B, you're spacing out thinking about the Mets, the Giants, whatever you think about, you're not hearing the words, you're not yotzei. So it's important that both happen.
And what if you're in a single long home? You know what I mean?
A single what?
It's called a single long home.
Single long.
I go into people. I go into people's houses. Okay, it's very common. They get to Kivanu V'Charta.
Oh, a sing-along. Oh, a sing-along. It's terrible. If it's well, no, it's not terrible. No. 1 second. Actually, that's not bad. You can mix them up. That's not bad. As long as everyone does it, it's fine. Meaning, you could use Shomei Ka'oneh and own it together. They're interchangeable.
Even for parts of the same bracha?
Yes, even for parts of the same bracha. But that's only assuming that everybody sings along. If one guy doesn't sing along, he's got a problem.
Right. Okay. Everybody's got to sing along.
So add that to announcement. If it's a sing along, Everyone sing along with me. Oh, you remember the bouncing ball? Follow the bouncing ball. Remember? Oh, we're going to date ourselves over here. I don't remember it.
Sing along with me.
Read about it. I read about it on Wikipedia. Yeah. All right. Good. All right. What's Wikipedia? I don't know either. I don't know.
Al Gore invented it. Al Gore invented it.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
I mean, what's the next piece saying in the Shag? Sorry.
Let's continue. Let's see what he says. All right. Now. Okay, good. So again, the point
is very good the way she sorry you tracked us back into
it. Good job, Elton. Good job. All right. So again, basically now the problem that the Shagas Ari faces is that I'd like to say that an Elam can use Shomea Ka'ona, but I have the Shulei Leker who clearly seems to indicate that there's a problem using it because since he's an Elam, he can't speak. Kol Roy Lebila and Bila Makeves Bo. But Kolsha ain't a roy Bila Makev. Since he can't speak, he can't use Shemea Ka'ona. So this is where the Shagas Ari is going to go to town. He's going to argue with this, meaning the application of, and basically what the Shur Leket is saying, we want to use Shemea Ka'ona by an Elam is not Medaber. The Shur Leket wants to say, no, you can't use it. Why? Because since he can't speak, you can't use Shemea Ka'ona because it has to be Kol roy Bila and Bila Makev Bo. And this is what this is where the Shagas Ari is going to go to town. He's going to start arguing with the Shri Leket. Okay, which is the next piece. Okay, here, nearly the Yotzei de Chavaso im Shemea Kriya Shema Me'acher. I argue, this is the Shagas Ari now again, and I argue with the Shri Leket, and I say that you are Yotzei Kriya Shema from someone else if you use Shemea Ka'ona, Mishum de Shemea Ka'ona, Amrinan. Nami Lagabi Elam. We say Shemea Ka'ona even by an Elam. Aval Pishi Yev Shalatzei Saidei Atzmo Klal. Even though he cannot, the Elam can't say words at all, he can't be Yotze himself at all. This has no connection to Eineroy Labilo. The Bishlam Hasam, and Bishlam by the Mincha case, came in the Kasarachman and Mitzvah's Bila be Mincha, Lekatrila, and since the Torah wrote by the Mitzvah, by Mincha, that Lekatrila you have to do Bila, Avagav the Kamalim, Lobala Kasher, even though we paskin, if you didn't do Balat's Kasher, Mekom Roy Labila Beinan. Since the Torah said, L'katzkil, you have to do it, so even though it's true that if you didn't do Yotze, but you have to be Roy L'Bila B'inan, Shrei L'katzkil Tzarech Bila Mitzvah. Right? Because look, the Torah requires L'katzkil to do Bila, so it obviously has to be something that's fit to be Bila, or it's not within a category of the Mitzvah. Hoshi Efshalakayim Mitzvah's Bila, B'mincha Zu, and anytime you're not able to fulfill the Mitzvah Bila with this Mincha, Bila Makeves Bo, then the Bila Makeves Bo, Fila B'di Eved, even B'di Eved. All right, so far so good. Let's just do this slide on this. We'll get this clear. And the Shagas Ari is saying like this: Korban Mincha needs to be Blula B'Shemen L'Katrila. Right now, again, if you didn't do it, okay, that's another question. But certainly, the Torah says Bolul B'Shemen, it has to be mixed in. Now, and therefore, what that demonstrates is that it's part of the definition of the mitzvah. Since L'Katrila, you have to do the Bila, that demonstrates that it's part of the definition of what the mitzvah is. And therefore, if it's not roy to do bila on it, it's not part of the mitzvah. And you're not, that's where we say, if it's not roy the bila makeves bo. So far, so good? Whether yes or no? So far, so good?
Yes.
Good. Okay, good. Now, but here it says, Aval Hacha, but by the Elam case, look at Shomea Ka'ona Dami. But here, by the Shemea Ka'ona, it works. Vein tzarich likros bepiv dafka. The Elam doesn't dafka have to read it with his mouth. If you look at Tzchila b'shmiya sagile, and even l'katchila by listening, it's good enough. Piv shachaveru kepiv dami. Here it is l'katchila, and by the Elam, it's not a bidi eved that he could use Shemea Ka'ona. It's a l'katchila because the guy, his friend's mouth is like his mouth. Im kein afilim ein roy likros batzmo. So therefore, even if he's not roy to read himself, because Elam become lower garabazeh, and doesn't make him any worse. Look, Moshe Medaber dummy, Rabbi. I'm saying Moshe Medaber Rabbi Rachmana Shioti Dechol Kriyas Acher Lekatchila, and therefore, just like someone else, a regular speaking person, and the Torah allows him to be yotze with the kriya of somebody else, Lekatchila, even Lekatchila, who did not in shatek, even to a person who's an Elam who can't speak. Even though he lost his ability to speak, the dibur of his friend is good, is like he's speaking. So through his mishum d'shemei konek kishar kolod m'shein ilam. It's just
Why
like
is it? Why is that? Why is it b'makom omed?
because it works. It's like he's speaking. It's mamish l'katz. It's like he's
But
speaking.
he can't speak. He doesn't know. He has no ability to speak. He used to, but he doesn't anymore.
Good, but the Torah didn't say. Torah said you have to speak, but this is speaking. Hey, I'll give you a good for instance. Let's say you say Shema in French. So you're not allowed to do it because there's certain words we don't know how to translate. But Mikra din yotze. You said it in French. Yeah, who said you have to say it in Hebrew? And don't try this at home because again, there's certain words we don't translate, so we only say it in Hebrew. But the bottom line is midoraisa, you could say Shema in French. And Biyose, you said in French. Yeah, what's wrong with that? So Tovia, dibur can mean either with my mouth or with the Shemei Kona dibur. Why does it have to be dafka my mouth? When he's speaking, it's for me. He's my mouthpiece. His dibur is working for me. It's absolutely lekatchila.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Why not? Because it's another form of speech. It is speech. Shomei Kona is another form of speech, just like French is another language, and so too Shomei Kona is another form of speech. It's the katchila.
Okay.
Is the Shagasari arguing what is Shomei Kaona, or they agree with Shomei Kaona is, but they argue about the ramifications?
Right. We have no reason to assume that they argue in Shomei Kona, not even assuming basically Levi Chazon Ish, we're not going there. Why? Because it's not
it's not it. Okay.
Not it. No, it's not. I spent some time, believe me. But okay, good try. Let's speak this out. So again, the Shagasari is saying piv shel chaver kepiv dami. When I'm using Shomei Kona, it's not like a bidi evid. And when this guy says Zachar Shom Shabbos Lekatsho, Shomei Kona says it's like I spoke. Since Shomei Kona, he is speaking. So Shomei Kona is a system of speech. Therefore, it's lekatchila. It's not by mincha. The Torah requires a belila, and if it can't be bola, it can't be bola. So it's not in the category of that which the Torah defined as a mincha. But over here, Shomei Kona, it works. So you said the Shema in Hebrew, you said it in French, you said it in German, you use this form of speech, that form of speech. Shomei Kona is a legitimate form of speech, and just like speaking is. So why can't it be lekatchila? 100%. He spoke. He used Shomei Kona to speak.
Rebbe, I have to just go back for a second. It must be that they do argue in Shomei Kona because, like, obviously, I forgot the Achron the Shagasari quoted. What was he called?
Shulei Leket.
Shulei Leket. Thank you.
Of the Leket.
The Leket. He must have understood that Dibur was a better form of fulfilling the mitzvah than Shemiah. Otherwise, if he felt that it was exactly the same, it was l'chachila both ways, then he would obviously have understood that an Elam is able to is royal labila.
Okay, so Yaakov Goldstein is trying to say that the Shuri Leket obviously holds like the Beis Halevi, and the Shagasari holds like the Chazon Ish. That's what Yaakov's trying to say. But I'm telling you, it's. Let's put it this way: I don't think it's true, and it won't help you in the sugya anyway. And believe me, I've been there, done that, tried it. It's not. It's not. I don't think it's correct. I don't think it's true. I don't think that's what they're arguing about. You see, it's a different argument.
What are they arguing about?
The argument is the concept of kol haroy lebila, whether bila makeves bo. How far does that go? In other words, here's the interesting question. We have a guy in the middle of Shmona Esrei. He really can speak. Nobody in his right mind is going to say he can't speak. He can't speak. Yet the Shur Leket says, since he's not allowed to speak, he can't use Shomei Kona because he's halachically not able to speak. He's not allowed to. Not allowed to means bila makeves bo. So you know what I'm saying? It doesn't. What the Shur Leket is doing is extending the concept of bila makeves bo to a point.
Is he going to be caught in a lot of things then? Like Rebbe brought up the case, the guy who ate the matzah he was not allowed to eat it, and Ramosha Paskin that he doesn't have to eat it again because he was still a guf, and a guf is yotze. As long as he's eating, he's an adam, he's chayav mitzvahs. According to the way he's paskin, something that's not chayav mitzvahs, anything you do is not good. It's yeah, like anything that you're not allowed to do. Meaning you can be mafsik shmonas, right? but you're not allowed to halachically. So a lulav hagazel or a sukkah hagazel, we should force you out because you're not allowed to do it. So therefore, you're not even in the klal of Am Yisrael. It sounds like according to Shibbolei Leket. He's gonna be like, it's pretty funny.
No, I think that'd be carrying it further than even he did. Meaning, all he's saying is that since you can't use dibur, meaning halachically you're not allowed to use dibur, so you're not allowed to use dibur, so you can't use it.
But you physically could.
You physically could, but that's not Roy Labila. Why? Because look, you're not allowed to do it, so it's not.
But I'm not using dibur. I'm using a different dibur.
Yeah, I understand that's Shag Zari's answer that it's French or German, it's French or Hebrew.
Right.
But the Shri Leket would say to you that since you can't speak there, you're in the military, so you're not allowed to speak. You can't speak, right? And so therefore you can't use Shomea Ka'ona because you're not allowed to speak. That means you're like an Elim as far as we're concerned. You can't speak. So if you can't speak, you can't use Shomea Ka'ona because you can't speak. I don't know. To be honest with you, I have a tough time hearing it anyway. I agree. I don't hear it so well. And what can I tell you? It's I wouldn't have said it. The Shag Zari certainly says it's not true. But I would have to assume it's somewhat of a svara, a decent svara, I guess.
Rabbi, I just want to clarify: would the Shag Zari be moda about? Is he moda about an elam or is he not? Does he say an elam is roy labila or no?
His whole point is that Shomea Ka'ona works for an elam.
Works for an elam, right?
Works for 100%. And what he says is that it's a likatchila. It's not a concept of roy labila. Why? Because he has a way likatchila of speaking, namely Shomea is speaking.
So it sounds like they Gufa are arguing not about the bila issue. They're arguing Gufa in Shomea Ka'ona.
Well, the question is, how far does bila makevas bo go? Do you say that since he's luckily not allowed to speak, that makes it like he's not a medaber, and if we can't use Shomea Ka'ona there because he's luckily not allowed to speak, or to which the Shag Zari would say that's silly. How could you say such a thing when he's capable of speaking? That wouldn't be bila makevas bo because the katchila. I'm not sure. I don't think this point per se is really where the action is at. It's worthy to think about, and certainly understanding the concept of bila makevas bo is very important because it is a very yesodistic concept. All right, let's recap really quickly because I want to make sure we get the basics down pat. We'll do a very quick recap and then we'll call it a night. Okay. So basically, unless anyone has any other quick questions. Forever hold your peace. Good. All right. So again, this is Shag Zari's question. We have an Elam who's Eino Medaber. He's a fine Jew, healthy, good Jew. One problem: he has no power of speech. So the question is, what does he do with the mitzvah kriyishma? The Torah says, "V'di barta bam," you shall speak. Right? He can't speak. So what does he do? The question is, can he use Shomea Ka'ona to speak or not? Now we know Shomea Ka'ona works in many cases. Let's say by Kiddush, right? Kiddush Friday night. This man, Ruvain, makes the Kiddush. He says the words. Shomea Ka'ona says anyone who listens to him is as if he said it. So when the blue guy hears the yellow guy making Kiddush, the listener's silence is as if he's speaking. Shomea Ka'ona works. So the question is, do we say Shomea Ka'ona by a man who cannot speak? Does Shomea Ka'ona work even if he can't speak? That's the question. Now, he quotes a Shvulei Leket, and Shvulei Leket says that not only if you can't speak doesn't Shomea Ka'ona work, but even if you can't speak, but you're not saying you're not allowed to speak, even then Shomea Ka'ona doesn't work, right? And let's get that case again. You're in the middle of Shemona Esrei, and you hear the Chazan get up to Kedusha or Kaddish again. We halacha hold, you're quiet, and you use Shomea Ka'ona. And the Shri Leket says you're not allowed. You can't. Not only you're not allowed, you cannot use Shomea Ka'ona there. Why? Since you can't speak halachically, you're not allowed to speak. Therefore, you can't use Shomea Ka'ona. Right now, and what's the concept? The concept is kolaroy lebila bila makevas bo. Now let's very quickly review that because this is the biggest sod for the sugya. Again, the Torah says when you bring a korban mincha, so you take solus and pour into it oil and use frankincense. So these are the parts of the mincha. Sola, Shem, and Levona, and Melech, which is learned out from another place. The next pasuk says, if the mincha you're doing is in a frying pan, that type of mincha, sola is belula b'shemen. Then the sola is mixed with shemen. But the Gemara learns out from this belula applies to all minchas. So all minchas have to be belula. They have to be mixed in. The oil has to be mixed into the solas. So basically, this one, the machbas was the mincha. So before you put it into the machbas, first you take the solas, put it into a bowl, add the oil, and you mix it all up, and then you put it into the machbas. Okay, now, but the Gemara, the Mishnah tells us, if you weren't bola, let's say you forgot to mix it, it's ksher, it's still kosher. The Gemara says, the Gemara has a kasha. Reb Zera answers by saying, if it's roy lebila, bila is not makeves bo, kol shein roy lebila, bila makeves bo. So let's just get that clearly here. And basically, the korban mincha needs to be belula b'shemen. But to mix properly, shishim esronim requires one log. So if a man said, I'm donating shishim esronim, he could put in one machbas, no problem, because he puts in one log of oil, mixes it well, and even if he forgot to mix it, it's not a problem. But it's only, one log is only enough for 60 solas of 60 esronim of solas. If it's 61 esronim of solas, one log of oil is not enough. Therefore, a man cannot put in 61 esronim into machbas, because the machbas only gets one log of shemen. And if you put in 61, you're not yotzei the mincha. Why? Because it's not roy lebila. Now it says the Gemara, 1 second. This is makeves bo, meaning put in 61 and put in a log of oil. It's makeves, you're not yotzei. But you told me that if you didn't mix it at all, it's kosher. So what do I care if you can't mix it? You can't mix it. You don't even need to mix it at all. Says Reb Zera, the rule, the principle, kol roy lebila and bila makeves bo. If it's roy to mix, then bila makeves bo. If it's aino roy lebila, then bila makeves bo. So basically, the Shul Leket wants to say, just like by the mincha, we say if it's not roy lebila, bila makeves bo. Look at this guy, our elam, he can't speak. So we want to use Shomei Koneh by an elam. Says the Shul Leket, you can't do that. Why? Because he can't speak, and that's the principle of kol roy lebila, bila's makeves bo. Since he can't speak, we're toast, we're done. Right? That's the Shur Leket. To which the Shagas Ari says, I argue vehemently. I argue totally and completely what you're saying. Why? Because says Shagas Ari as follows. And by the korban mincha, that needs to be belula b'shem, and that's l'katchila. The Torah says you have to do it. And therefore, what does that show you? It shows you that part of the mitzvah is belula b'shemen. Now, even if you didn't do it, you could still be yotzei, but it shows the definition of what the mitzvah is. And the definition of the mitzvah is something that's fit to be bol b'shemen. And if it's not fit to be bol b'shemen, it doesn't work. However, says the Shagas Aryeh, since we know the principle is Shomei Koneh works, Shomei piv shel chaver kepiv dami. When he says the kiddush, it's like he said it. And so therefore it's l'katchila, it might as well. So just like I could say Shema in Hebrew or French or German, any language, as long as I translated all the words, it's a different language, and so what? It's a different language. So too, Shomei Koneh is a different form of speaking, but he spoke. It's a system of speech, and therefore it's l'katchila, and therefore Shomei Koneh applies 100%. Good. I haven't said this in a while, and everything is beautiful. Martin, I said it. Good. I'm Yotzi.
I hear you. My question is it another form of speech, or is it a halachic principle that we accept? Kif, the word, like.
Right. So for those who remember the last Sugyah, we spent a lot of time on defining speech. Speech is das in concrete form. But the essence, 80% of what dibur is das. But you got to put it in concrete form to make it work in this world. But be'etzim, that's why there's the shita that holds, Amora holds, hira kedibur. Reb Zera holds, it's actually Reb Zera, right? Reb Zera holds, hira is kedibur. All you do is think about it. Yeah, since 80% of the dibur anyway is hira. He holds even more. He holds hira alone, just thinking thought. You just shema. According to Reb Zera, if you say, well, actually not shema, but anything else, you'd be able to use hear it, just think it out, and you'll be Yotzei. Now, we don't paskin that way. We hold you need the dibur, but 80% of the dibur is das, and therefore, Shomei Ka'oneh says, I use your dibur to be my mouth, but 80% is my das anyway, so it really is like speaking. In other words, it's not kish Ka'oneh, it is another form of speech. Martin, exactly to your point. And that's what the Sugyah Shiur would be saying. Shomei Ka'oneh is not Ki'oneh, it is Oneh. It's another form of speech. As French is another language, so too another form of speech is Shomea.
Okay, cool.
Cool. All right, gentlemen, we're good?
Yep.
All right, good. So we got some more work to do. First of all, I want to make sure you got these steps down really solid. Chazim, and Mitzvah Shem Tuesday, we'll continue with the Sugyah Shiur and get into Shofar. Avi, you with us?
I'm with you.
How are we doing so far?
Great.
Great. Excellent. What does this have to do with Shofar? So far,
I was
nothing.
going to ask that.
You don't know?
No,
Maybe
so-
the shmi is like a tekiah. Maybe if the mitzvah is a tekiah, so if you listen to it, it's like you're blowing it.
No, don't ever say that, because there are people who try to learn the Sugyah Shiur that way, and I think it's totally absurd. I think it's absurd. But he does quote very shortly. He's going to bring a raya from Tekiah Shofar to his principle to prove. But it's not that Shomei Ka'oneh, like when I listen to the Tekiah, it's like I blew the shofar. That's ludicrous. Again, there are people who learn the Sugyah Shiur that way, but my personal opinion is that that's
I obviously would never say that. I was just,
understood. But anyway,
Right.
the next step, Tuesday night, we'll get involved with Rosh Hashanah, where the shofar is a raya to his yesod. All right, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Okay, Leila, good Nacht.
Take care, man.
Hey,
Thanks, Abby.
Good to be back.
call it.
Very.
Good. Okay. Okay, Leila.